What's up, everyone? Aaron Nagler here, PackersNews.com, live on Facebook. Deep in the bowels of Lambeau Field, a few hours before the start of the shareholders meeting. I was going to go live post-shareholders, but a flurry of activity, a bunch of news breaking late in the afternoon. I thought I'd jump on here and talk about it. I know Packers fans, at least in my mentions on Twitter, are freaking out a little bit. So I'm here to calm you down, maybe just a tad, and talk about the latest developments. The headliner, of course, I don't think the Brian Bulaga news is a surprise. Bulaga being placed on the physically unable to perform list. That was expected, given that he suffered a torn ACL late in the season. A bit of a surprise to see Nick Perry's name included. The initial reports out there stated that he was dealing with a hand injury. That is incorrect. He is continuing to deal with the ankle that was bothering him in the spring. However, I am told that he is in line to start this season, regular season, week 1. Nick Perry should be good to go. The other bit of news, Michael Clark, the wide receiver who turned some heads in camp last year and was given a bit of an opportunity down the stretch, the final 2 games of the season. A lot of off-season chatter about this young kid. He was placed on the reserve did not report list. I am told he is planning to retire. Clearly decided that football was not for him. And the other bit of news is Cole Madison, the Packers' 5th-round pick, expected to at least compete a little bit for the interior jobs on a backup capacity, most likely, was also on the reserve did not report list. Tom Silverstein reporting that he is dealing with a personal matter. It's not known when he will report, but he is expected to at some point. So there you go. That's everything. All the latest. Like I said, I wanted to jump on and chat with you fine folks. Steve, exactly. Hand injury, that was an erroneous report that was put out there. Initially, it's not a hand for Nick Perry, though I will admit to having pretty much the same reaction you did. At what point does M. Night Shyamalan come along and go, would you like to star in my Glass feature that is coming out soon with Samuel L. Jackson as Mr. Glass, perhaps as an appendage? But that was erroneous. It is the ankle that he was dealing with in the spring. A judge comes right out with cut Bulaga. I don't think there's much point in that right now. See what his recovery is like and see how long it takes. Maybe they come to some kind of injury settlement down the line if they like what they see at right tackle initially, but I don't think there's much reason to cut him right now. Where do I see Raji fitting in? It's good. Always got to get the Raji questions. What does that mean for Madison if he's ready? Well, it really depends how long he's gone. It's not good for any rookie to miss time once those pads come on, especially during install phases. It's tough ground to make up. You don't have to look much further than Montravius Adams last year. You miss that initial work, that install phase, all that padded practice work. It's just really hard to make it up. So if Madison is gone for a day or two and then arrives and jumps in and competes and goes about his business, he should be all right and he should fight for a roster spot. If he is gone for a week, 10 days, that's going to be awfully hard to make up. More opportunities for Devontae Mays? I think we'll see a few. I don't know about a ton. What's going on with Perry, Alex? It's an ankle injury. It's something he was dealing with in the spring. It is not a hand injury, as was initially reported by another outlet. Did Clark show any signs of wanting to retire? Not that I saw, not that I heard. Certainly didn't speak about it with anybody in the press that I know about. And it certainly wasn't, going along the grapevine or anything. It wasn't even whispered about. So I will admit, I was very surprised when I found out. What are your thoughts and impressions of Clark's limited play time? I thought he was super talented, but super raw. He came to football very late, and you never really know with those guys about their passion and desire for the game. Clearly, it wasn't there in Clark's case. Bring back Ahmad Brooks or trade for someone? I don't think that's necessary. Perry should be in line to start week 1. And like I've said throughout the summer, they really like what they have in Vince Beagle, and they really like what they have in Reggie Gilbert. So I don't think they're going to overreact in any way. Although Ahmad Brooks is still out there, and I don't think they've shut the door on that possibility. But I do think they're going to see what they have first. How long is Perry out? Carl, there's no timeline on it, but I was told that he is expected to be ready by week 1. When does Nick Perry break the hand this season? September or October? I don't know. Place your bets. Should the Packers look at signing Kevin Dodd? Jake, I tend to doubt it. This is a guy who really struggled making the transition from having his hand in the dirt in college to standing up in the pros. Never really made the switch to the outside linebacker spot. Not to mention, really struggled with injuries, a couple of different foot injuries. And frankly, never really looked that great when he was healthy and on the field. So I'd be very surprised if the Packers made that kind of move. Dez to the Browns, Mary. I saw that report this morning that former Packers executive and current Browns general manager John Dorsey saying that they have discussed as a staff signing Dez Bryant. And I don't think that would be to replace Josh Gordon, who didn't report. I've said all summer long, I think a lot of people are really overestimating how done Dez Bryant might be. But we'll see. How do you think Mike Pettin will use Josh Jones this year? It's funny because it's very obvious last year he was most comfortable closer to the line of scrimmage, taking on, say, tight ends, backs out of the backfield, etc., being physical in the run game, being able to get after the quarterback. That was his game. The further away from the line of scrimmage he got, the more uncomfortable he got. I thought Dom Capers put him in some really bad spots. I think clearly you want him near the line of scrimmage, but if that is his only way of contributing, then you're really limiting your defense. You've got to be able to, and especially in today's NFL, with as much spread as you see, you've got to be able to play up and down multiple spots, both sides. You've got to be interchangeable. And if Jones shows that that's a little too much for him, it certainly looked that way last year, then I think you'll see more Kentrell Bryce. Bring Jeff Janis back. I like it. Perry, what's new? Well, it's just a continuation of the ankle injury that was bothering him this spring. Need help at linebacker, weakest position on the team. Well, we don't really know until we see Vince Beagle and Reggie Gilbert with a full set of reps and what they have in Oren Burks. Unknown is not the same as weak. I think we can safely say Kyler Fackrell, yes, he is probably not up to snuff. We've seen what he can do. It is not up to requirements, although I think he can be a contributor on special teams. From scrimmage, he is lacking. We have seen multiple and copious evidence of that. But when it comes to Vince Beagle or Reggie Gilbert or Oren Burks, I just don't know what they have there. And I think it's way too early to say that it's those guys are weak players or that's the weakest spot until we get at least a week or 10 days into camp and we can start to formulate an informed opinion on it. Perry wouldn't be dealing with an ankle injury if Huntley didn't chew gum. I love this. I love our comment section. Any chance Bulaga is starting week 1? I suppose there's a chance, but I'll be very surprised. Can Favre play linebacker? Did something happen with Michael Clark? Yes, Sherwin. Michael Clark was placed on the reserved, did not report list. I am told he is retiring. Clearly, football not in his heart. Should Rodgers wait a year to sign? All depends on what he wants. I think the Packers are ready to give him a monster traditional deal right now, but I think Rodgers has hinted many times, both overtly and covertly, that he wants something a little bit non-traditional. He wants a little bit more control, and he doesn't have a whole lot of leverage when it comes to getting the Packers to the table to talk about it. But we'll see. It could happen during camp, although I'll be surprised if they drag it on. At some point, you would think that they would go, look, we're not going to talk about it until next year. We'll put everything on hold, etc. Because the longer it sits out there, the more it'll continue to be talked about, and it'll become a bit of a distraction. I don't think they want that. What about Cole Madison? Is he off the team? No, he is not off the team. He is on the reserve, did not report list. He is dealing with a personal matter. He is planning on reporting. We do not know when. Any idea how much potential Kendall Donnerson has? No. He's a great mystery. You look at his college tape, you see active, you see athletic, but it's college tape. It doesn't mean a whole lot. Once the pads go on and you're taking on an NFL lineman. But I'm interested to see him. We'll get our first glance on pads on Saturday. Obviously, tomorrow's the first day. Thursday and Friday are without pads, and they put the pads on starting Saturday. No, Clark can't bulk up and switch to tight end. I like it. We should have got Barwin. Well, older guy. I mean, could he have helped? Yeah, maybe a little bit. I don't think he'd been a big difference maker. I don't think he's going to be a big difference maker in New York. Hopefully King can come back from injury healthy. Well, I tell you what, our first flush of the injury news is Bulaga and Perry being put on PUP. No word about Kevin King, which suggests that he passed his physical and should be ready to go tomorrow. Now, we'll find out tomorrow morning, but the lack of seeing his name on there leads you to believe that he should be good to go with that shoulder. So will Adonis live up to his name? I don't know. We'll find out, Jeff. All right, everybody. I'm going to jump. Thank you so much for jumping on. I'm going to try and come on after the festivities tonight, after the shareholders meeting. If there's any kind of news, say Mark Murphy summons an alien from a UFO, and there's some kind of function with lights. I don't know. But if there's anything to talk about, I'll be on. Otherwise, I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Mike McCarthy speaks nice and early, then practice, and locker room. We're off and running. Thanks a lot, everyone. Talk to you soon.